Hey guys, in this video, I'm addressing 5 common questions that most new bloggers and online business owners have about Pinterest. Now, if you are new to Pinterest, you know that it can be very confusing when you first get started. And there's a lot of conflicting advice from different experts out there. And a lot of times it's just that, it's advice, and the conversation stops there. There's no really diving in to the nitty-gritty details of engaging on Pinterest and showing you step-by-step tutorials. So I'm going to try and clear up some of that confusion for you today. Now, if you have ever found yourself saying, "Why isn't this working for me?" This is a perfect video for you to watch. And if you know that Pinterest is driving massive traffic for others, but it's just not working for you, I'm going to show you some strategies and answer some of those questions and help you figure out why. Why is that not working? You know, this is a perfect video too. If you're not sure where to start, or maybe you've been working for a while and you're not getting any traction, I'm going to give you some good tips and some good step-by-step tutorials in here to help you out. Now, the idea for this video came from my private Facebook group, Team of One Biz Owners, and one of the members within my Facebook group, and she had mentioned that she just wasn't very comfortable with Pinterest, didn't really know what to do or how to get started. And so I said, what are some of those questions that you have? Because I'm actually putting together a Pinterest for Business course, and I'd love to address some of your questions. So she put in a ton of questions, and they were so awesome. And I was really looking into them and kind of digging into them. And I thought, I think that other bloggers and online business owners would really benefit from the answers to these questions. So that is how this video came to be. Now let's address her very first question. So she said, people say to have multiple versions of pins, but where do you put them all? Okay, so before I get into that, where do you put all these pins? I want to dig into the foundation of your Pinterest profile. So I'm going to pick on my husband, Trevor. And about a year ago, Trevor put together a blog called Short-Term Pain. And the whole premise of the blog was about becoming debt-free and personal finance. And Trevor and we became debt-free shortly after we got married, and we're very passionate about that subject. So he started a blog and he created a Pinterest profile, and this is all that became of it. So as you can tell, it's pretty pathetic. First of all, his profile image is very blurry. He doesn't have any description about what short-term pain is, what it means, what he does, who he helps. He also doesn't have any keywords in his name or description. And then you can also see he only has 2 boards, and they're not even full. And let's see, this one, blog ideas, that really needs to be private because that's for himself. But there's no other boards of other content out here. So the first thing you need to do before you start creating multiple versions of pins and pinning them on boards, you need to build a solid foundation, okay? You need to have a good description. You need to have keywords in your name, a great image. You need to have lots and lots of boards built out. And if you're not sure how to do this, I am addressing this in the course that I'm putting together. It's called Pinterest for Business. And I am going to get into extreme detail, show you step by step how to lay that foundation and how to set up your account for success and build it out so that you have a really strong, good foundation. Let me jump over to my profile to just show you kind of the difference between the two. So very crisp, clear image right here. I've got a detailed description of who I help and what I can provide. And then in my name, not only is it my name, but then I also put in some keywords here of what I provide or what it is that I do. And then let's scroll down to my boards. So you can see all of these boards are full of pins. Now you do not want to post any boards out there to the public until they are full of pins. And it also should not be full of your own pins. You need to be out there looking for great content. You need to be curating content because you want people to follow you because they know that you're going to be pinning awesome, valuable stuff. Okay, so you can see all of my boards relate to social media and digital marketing and being a blogger or a business owner. That's all what all of my board content relates to. And then I'm also a member of a lot of group boards that also have, social media, blogging, marketing, business content. And then down here are my secret boards. Now, your secret boards are key. When you are just starting out and you're just laying that foundation, you want to make boards that don't have very many pins secret. So for example, my blog traffic reports, right now I only have one, but I know that someday I'm going to have a ton of blog traffic reports. But until this board is filled up and looks really good and robust, I'm going to keep it private and I'm going to hide that. So that's another really good trick. Until your boards are filled up, you need to keep it private. Okay, so that really kind of reiterates that you've got to have a good, strong foundation. Look at that difference between the two. Who would you follow? Who do you think will provide you good quality content and information? Okay, so we talked about, before you create multiple versions and put them places, you have to have a foundation. So let's say, now you have a foundation. Where are you going to put your multiple versions of your pins? Let's go back to my profile and I'll just show you an example. So with my personal pins, my own content, I have a board called angiegensler.com and I post my content to this board. And let me show you this example. So I created 2 versions of a pin for my inspirational quotes. So you can see I've got this one and this one. You do that for a couple reasons. One, you want to test your pins. Okay, so I created 2 versions and I thought this one was more beautiful, more visually appealing. This one I just thought was kind of sloppy and messy, to be honest. But look, it got repinned 170 times. This one, twice. So you really want to do it to not only test your pins, but also to have a more steady trickle of content out there. And so I pinned these to my angiegensler.com board, but then I also pinned them to other boards. So that quotes one specifically, I believe I pinned it also to Entrepreneur Inspiration, and that might have been it. I think I also pinned it to Business Tips and Strategy. So depending on the content, you should have a wide variety of boards where you can pin your pins to maybe 3 or 4 different boards and it would make sense. So you want to pin to all those boards, but then you also want to be a part of group boards and you need to pin that content to all of the group boards that are relevant to whatever it is your content is about. And if you're stumped on how to find and join group boards, I actually have a video tutorial called How to Find and Join High Quality Pinterest Group Boards. So just head to my website, angiegensler.com, and you'll be able to find it there. Or if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll also be able to find it there. Okay, so I've got all these group boards. I have these boards. Now, how do you pin it? You do not want to pin them all at the exact same time. You need to schedule it out over time, and I use a tool called Tailwind. Look into Tailwind. It is an amazing, amazing tool that allows you to schedule your pins out over time, and it will even figure out the most optimal times to schedule your pins, which is great. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So she said, all the pins that go to the same blog post would still go in the blog post board? So yes, the answer to that is yes. So she's saying if I make 3 or 4 different pins, do I put all of those pins on my blog post board? So yes, I put the different versions of my pins onto my angiegensler.com board. Now the difference here is you're not pinning them all at the exact same time. You're doing it over time, and you may even do it over, change them up over months. Let's see if I can go back to an example here. Okay. So I changed my design. When I first got started, this was my first design. And now I look at it and I think it's kind of hideous. And then I changed it to this design. These are both going to the exact same thing. They're promoting the exact same thing. And then let's scroll up and I'll show you. Oh, and then I created this version as well, which also performed really well, even though I didn't think it was that beautiful. And then here's the most recent version that I've come up with. So every time I feel like I kind of improve on my design a little bit, I create a new version of the pin and I post it. I throw it out there. So yes, you post all the pins that go to the same blog post. They do still go all in that blog post board. Okay, next question. Is it better to space them out over time or to have boards populated? It's kind of both ways. So when you first get started, when you are laying that foundation, so let's go back to Trevor's page. When you're laying this foundation, you just fill those suckers up. So what I would do with Trevor's page is I would create about 10 different boards, and I would go find his peers in his niche, and I'd figure out, what are some of the board things they're posting, and I'd create those boards, and then I'd just fill those suckers up with pins. Not his own content, but other people's high quality content. I'd fill them up, okay, all in at once. And then once they're full, and his profile's optimized, then I would start pinning his content, his blog posts in a steady trickle over time, not all at once. So she said, I created pins for all my posts and put them into boards all at once. Should I delete them and put them back in over time? And quick answer to that, yes, you should delete them and then put them back over time. With one caveat. So if this was Trevor's profile, he barely has followers, he doesn't have that foundation, it's really not going to anyone. Yes, I would delete them and I'd build that foundation. Once it's built, I'd trickle it in over time. But let's say you already have a really good, strong, firm foundation. Go into your pins, your blog post board, and just look and see. Like this one where it's been repinned 43 times, do not delete that. Don't delete that one. But, there's some in here that, okay, this hasn't been repinned. It says 1, which is basically this pin right here. Delete that. So I would go through and delete anything that is a 1, get rid of it, make a note so you know what you're deleting, and then add it back in slowly over time once you have your foundation built. Okay, let's go on to her fourth question. So she says, if I have multiple versions of a pin for a particular post, do I have to have each image in my blog post? The answer to that is no. You do not want to have multiple versions. So let me run over to my website, angiegensler.com, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So let me find an older post. Let's do the Tailwind Tribes. Okay, so you can see in this post, I have a Pinterest image right here at the very beginning, and that's it. Now let's go to pin an image, and you can see I've got that one in there. I've got this one. So I have multiple Pinterest images in there. Let's see, this one, it looks like I only have these two for that specific post in there. But no, you do not want both of those in there because it's really going to clutter up that post. Let's see. Okay, so that kind of segues into the next question. So she says, is there a way to create a photo just for Pinterest that isn't even on the blog post? And yes, there is. Good news, yes, there is. So let's move on to this one. So this is that post that I mentioned to you, how to find and join high quality Pinterest group boards. Now with this post, I do not have the long Pinterest image in there. I have a more Facebook optimized image in there, and it's not taking up so much of my post. But look at this. When they go to pin it, look at that. Super long image in there. Okay, there's a couple different ways you can do that. Now I do it using Social Warfare, which is a plugin. And Social Warfare is amazing. It's what these pin buttons are for. Now, when you click the pin button on my website, it's going to pull up the pin that I want you to pin and the description that I want in there, which is really great. It allows you to have more control over what you want people to share and how they want it to say. Now, they can still change that if they want, but gives you a little more control. But let me go into the edit page. So in the edit portion, when you have Social Warfare, this is what you see. And it looks like actually my descriptions were removed out of there. So let me go to another post. I'll have to fix that later. But it's really neat. You can put in the images that you want to be shared, and you can put in this very specific descriptions that you want shared as well. Let's see if this one has it. Here we go. Okay. So you can see this is the image if someone shares on Facebook, Google Plus, and LinkedIn. This is the image, and these are the descriptions that it will share. This is the image if they share on Pinterest, and here's the description. This is what the tweet would say if they tweet it. So it gives you so much control. I highly recommend the social warfare plugin. It is well worth the $29 investment. Okay, so there is another way to create a photo just for Pinterest that isn't even on the blog post. You do not need the social warfare plugin to do it. All you need is a little piece of code, and it's this right here. So you're going to put this part of your code in, and then this right here. Then you're going to take your image code and you're going to paste it in right here, and then put this little piece of code right after that. And that is going to hide your image. So instead of seeing this, you can put in a shorter image, but then when people go to pin it, it's going to pull that image up. So really easy little piece of code that you can use to do that. Really great. So those were the 5 questions that my Facebook group member asked me. I hope that these helped you as well, and I hope that these addressed some of the questions you had. Now, if you still have a lot of questions and you realize, you've really got to build out that foundation, I would love for you to join me on my Pinterest for Business course so you can learn more about it. It has not yet launched. We're in the process. I'm in the process of building it out and developing it, but you can get some more information and get on the waiting list if you head to angiegensler.com/Pinterest. And I am putting together step-by-step video tutorials. I'm going to have 5 modules. We're going to work on building a strong foundation. You're going to build out your account and optimize that profile. I'm going to teach you how to grow your account and get followers and some traction. And then I'm going to give you some strategies to generate massive traffic to your website. And the final module, we're going to analyze and optimize. And I'm going to walk you through all of this step-by-step video tutorials. This is not going to be a course with all about theory and telling you how to do something. I am going to show you how, step by step of the way. And when you're done with this course, there will be no more confusion and you will be a Pinterest master. So I would love for you to join me. Head to angiegensler.com/Pinterest, and I will hope to see you there.